Hi, my name is Bill Leggett, and I'm a bookseller at Politics and Prose bookstore in Washington, D.C., and the book that I've chosen for Banned Book Week is Always Running by Louis J. Rodriguez, which is a memoir, and I'll read from it now. Late winter Chicago, early 1991. The once white snow, which fell in December, had turned into a dark scum, mixed with ice-melting salt, car oil, and decay. Icicles hung from rooftops and windowsills like the whiskers of old men. For months, the bone-chilling hawk swooped down and forced everyone in the family to squeeze into a 1.5-bedroom apartment in a gray stone three-flat building in the Humboldt Park neighborhood. Inside, tensions built up like a fever as we crammed around the TV set or kitchen table, the crowd made more intolerable because of the heaps of paper, open file drawers, and shelves packed with books that garnered every section of empty space, a sort of winter's torture chamber. The family included my third wife, Trini, our child, Reuben, born in 1988, and my 15-year-old son, Romero. A 13-year-old daughter, Andrea, lived with her mother in East Los Angeles. We hardly ventured outside. Few things were worth leaving the warmth of the house and heaving on the layers of clothing and the coats, boots, and gloves required to step out the door. Ramiro had been placed on punishment, but not for an act of disobedience or the usual outburst of teenage anxiety. Ramiro had been on a rapidly declining roller coaster ride into the world of street gang America. Not unexpected for this neighborhood, once designated as one of the 10 poorest in the country and also known as one of the most gang-infested. Humboldt Park is a predominantly Puerto Rican community with growing numbers of Mexican immigrants and uprooted blacks and sprinklings of Ukrainians and Poles from previous generations. But, along with the greater Westtown area, it was considered a changing neighborhood, dotted here and there with rehabs, signs of gentrification, and for many of us, imminent displacement. Weeks before, Ramiro had received a 10-day suspension from Roberto Clemente High School, a beleaguered school with a good number of caring personnel, but one which was an epicenter of gang activity. The suspension came after a school fight, which involved a war between the Insanes and the Maniacs, two factions of the Folks. The Folks of those gangs allied with the Spanish Cobras and gangster disciples. The Peopler gangs tied to the Latin Kings and the Vice Lords, symbolic of the complicated structures most inner-city gangs had come to establish. There was also what's called an SOS, a smash-on-site contract issued on Ramiro. As a result, I took him out of Clemente and enrolled him in another school. He lasted less than 2 weeks before school officials there kicked him out. By then, I had also had to pick him up from local jails following other fighting incidents, and once from a hospital where I watched a doctor put 11 stitches above his eye. Following me, Ramiro was a second-generation gang member. My involvement was in the late 1960s and early 1970s in Los Angeles, the so-called gang capital of our country. My teen years were ones of drugs, shootings, beatings, and arrests. I was around when South Central Los Angeles gave birth to the Crips and the Bloods. By the time I turned 18 years old, 25 of my friends had been killed by rival gangs, police, drugs, car crashes, and suicides. If I had barely survived all this, to emerge eventually as a journalist, publisher, critic, and poet, it appeared unlikely that my son would make it. I had to begin the long, intense struggle to save his life from the gathering storm of street violence sweeping the country.